Hello and welcome everyone to a new video here on my channel for a specific group of people, and those are the ones who want to mod aircraft themselves for Grand Theft Auto 5, and not just airplanes but also airplanes with tuning options. So if you just want to see mods, download mods, this video is not for you. And if you don't know how to mod planes, the basics, this probably isn't for you either, but still I have had some people asking for this video and I thought, well, I could just make this video public, so anyone who wants to check this out in the future, right now, or in the, well, not in the past, but you know what I'm getting at. So yeah, I'm making this video public for everyone, and let's just start off. So when you watch this video, I actually think you will understand the basics of Z modeler. You know what Grand Theft Auto 5 vehicle modding looks like, so I will not be covering any basics at all. So I will just open up an aircraft I have recently done, and this is the X-02S Strike Wyvern, just because, well, this aircraft has some modding options, and yeah, I think it's easiest to work with for the sake of this tutorial. So, as you can see right here, we've got the Wyvern. This is the main vehicle, the main aircraft, all looking fine and dandy. And we've got several other objects in the list. Some of those are not relevant. Those are just projects, little meshes I have worked on, or any backup meshes. Just never mind. But these things right here with the Wyvern name in them, those are the actual tuning parts. Alright, so let's start off with the default vehicle. The tuning parts on the X-02S Strike Wyvern include swept wings, because this aircraft has two modes of flight, swept wings and deployed wings, like what you can see by default. So in case of tuning the aircraft, this doesn't include just adding new objects, the tuning parts, but also removing parts from the existing vehicle. So, for example, the elevators are not actually called elevators. Those are called mod D. And this is because you can't untoggle any object. They have to have specific names. So what you want to do is, if you want to replace parts on your aircraft so that some parts disappear and other new ones appear, is you have to call them mod something. Mod A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Doesn't matter. So you have like 26 slots. I don't know if it actually works with mod 1 or something. I always just used the alphabetic letters. So this is called mod D, and to have this still working as elevator, what I did is I have elevator L just as nothing. So this is just an empty object. You can use a dummy, you can use a single polygon as placeholder mesh. And what you want to do is you place mod M, this is the elevator object, inside elevator L, so it moves just like the elevator would. Now, you have to attach the custom part in case we have the Wyvern elevators right here, which would be the wings folded down, and they have to be attached somewhere. And for this, you also need specific dummy objects. So as you can see right here, I've also got mod M. This is nothing more than a simple dummy, which doesn't do anything. It's just there at the same position as the elevator dummy. Alright? Alright. So the individual elevators, as you can see right here, also a normal object just like any other vehicle object. They also need to be in the same position. Okay, cool. Yeah, exactly. So you've got the object right here called Wyvern Elevators NG. NG stands for next gen or something. I don't know. Just add this to the name itself. Then create a simple dummy. Again, simple dummy, nothing more. No values or anything. Also at the same position with the same name, just minus the NG. This is your parent dummy, just like you have the Wyvern parent dummy for the aircraft. Place your object in there, and that's it for the tuning part. Now it is done. Alright, so this is basically the basic setup for just cosmetic tuning parts. If you don't want to replace anything, then you can just, well, either attach, you can attach tuning parts to the chassis dummy, which is located at 000. This would be this one here. I mean this one at 000. You can attach parts to this. So for example, if you just have static parts which are not part of the wings, elevators, any moving object, just attach it to chassis and you're done. Okay? No need to do anything else. I hear some music. Anyway, let's go on with weaponized customization. What do I do if I want to add a tuning part, which is also an additional weapon? For this, the Wyvern right here, it has the EML gun. Alright, so I don't want it to work if it's not equipped, but I do want it to work when it's equipped. So of course I have to add a weapon dummy for it to work, which would be here. This is weapon 3A, for example, whatever weapon slot you want to use. This also is of course in the default vehicle. And then I just gotta check. Yeah, for example, this is located at 000. So this can just be attached to the chassis parent dummy. You don't need to have any mod related dummy for this to be attached to. Alright, so this just follows the basic principle as well. You have a parent dummy, okay, same position, and you have the object, again with the name, just like the elevators I've shown you before. And that is basically it. Okay, there is not much more you need to know regarding ZModeler. I will be covering what you need to actually do in Open4 or with Notepad or whatever in the settings to get this to work. But in ZModeler you actually don't really have to do anything else. So this is actually quite simple in my opinion. Once you get the hang of it, it's really easy to do. Alright, so for export you can just go export and we go boom, exported, done. So now we open up Open4. Wyvern. So what you want to do for the tuning parts is you need the carcodes.meta file. This is what controls the tuning. So first off, you need a kit name with an ID value. Now, that's a bit of a hit and miss because Grand Theft Auto now has quite a few vehicles which are tunable, so I don't know what the highest default value is, but I would suggest always going over 700. I think the limit is always, at least that's my motto, always keep between 700 and 999. I can't tell you what value to use. If there are some mods that you use regularly, I would suggest looking up their values so you don't use the same ones, otherwise just pick any value really. It doesn't matter. But you have to have the same ID here and here. And you can just call this whatever you want. Okay, kit type is special, yeah, that's okay. And then we start off with the visible mods, which actually control the objects we have done in ZModeler here. So this is basically the wing part. Okay. Yeah, I should maybe mention something else. Anyway, this first right here, as you can see by the name, is the wing sweep. And we've got the Wyvern elevators as model name. Those are the ones I've shown you before. Now, what I've actually forgot is, of course, the tuning is not just the elevators. When I select the tuning option, I do not just want the elevators. Of course, I want this to be gone, I want these to be gone, and I want the canards to be gone. In place of this, I want this, this, and this. So it's more than just one part. For this, you go to Open 4. One of the 4 objects you want as tuning parts is the model name. You have to choose which one, it doesn't really matter. And for this we go Wyvern elevators. This is the model name, this is the custom name which will be shown in game. Now you do have to edit the global.gxt data for custom names in game. There are tutorials, I can link it in the description. Otherwise you will probably just read WT wing sweep and not a proper name. Now, here's a section called linked models. Here you enter those objects that are tied to this tuning option. So because you added Wyvern elevators here already, it's out of the equation. Now you just need to add all objects which are part of the tuning and you haven't added yet. So this would be wing R, wing L, and the canards. Alright, so this is the section for all models related to this tuning options. Now you have turn off bones. Okay, so these are all objects which will disappear on the default vehicle once you choose this tuning option. In this case, this would be mod A, mod B, mod C, mod D. I can show you this real quick. Just show all, disable all of these. So this is mod B, mod A, mod C, mod D. All of these will get disabled when you add them in this turn off bone section. Type is VMT chassis. This is the tuning section it will appear in. Now this is the chassis tuning section. You can also add, for example, VMT bumper F, bumper R, spoiler, roof. Yeah, basically any section. I would advise, should have said that first probably, I would advise using an existing car call entry and modify it to your liking. Okay, if you want, just download the Wyvern mod, extract this, and use it for this mod by just changing the names, objects, and everything else. It will be much easier than doing something from scratch. Bone. This is the bone that the object you have right at the top of the tuning option will be attached to. In this case, mod M. As we remember, we have mod M in the elevator part. Then we have collision bone. For something like this, use chassis. You can also use custom mod collisions, but I am not quite sure myself how those work. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, sometimes they are all over the place, so I will not be covering this right now. If you choose chassis as collision bone, yeah, some tuning parts might not be static, you can just walk through them, but honestly, most of the time it doesn't even matter. Okay, camera position, default, just like that is okay. Weight 20, you don't need to mess with any of these. You don't need to mess with any of these at all. Weapon slot, nothing. Okay, we just have the wings. There's no weapon related to the wings, so weapon slot is just gone. Okay? Okay. So, yeah, then we go a bit further down. Those was the visible mods section, and now we have link mods. Okay, and this is one entry in link mods, and here you add all parts which are part of a tuning option. For example, here I had the elevators, and linked models are canards, wing R, wing L. Okay, the game needs to know where those parts go, so you just have some small entries here. Model name, Wyvern canards, and the bone which this specific part will get attached to, mod P. Okay, and you do this for all the different parts you have, and yeah, you're basically done. Now, the slot names, again, you can, for example, add custom names right here. So instead of chassis tuning, it will say wing sweep. This is just something minor. You don't need to do this. You can just let that slide. Okay. Just for anything else, these are the stat mods. This is like engine mods, handling mods, and so on. I actually never touched these. Okay, you can also delete them if you want to, but I just keep them in because this is basic. This is the basic Smuggler's Run armor handling engine tuning. Yeah, you don't really have to bother with this. Alright, so this is for cosmetic mods, and now we will cover weaponized mods. Okay, so the EML, for example, that I've shown here. Now where is it? There. This basically works the same. Okay, there are no linked models to the EML. There are some objects within the vehicle which get turned off. If you don't have anything that gets turned off, just... Oh well. I haven't got... Well, let's go into edit mode. Just do it like this. Okay. Now type, in this case we have the roof. Bone again is chassis. Oh no, wait, it's not again chassis. This time it's chassis because it's not related to any moving part, but the collision bone is again chassis. And now weapon slot, you have to add one, is number 2. Now in case you're wondering, it's always one less than the weapon you have in Z-Modeler. So if it's weapon 3 in Z-Modeler, it's slot 2 in open 4. Okay, weapon 1 would be in open 4 would be 0, and so on and so forth. Okay. Yeah, and there's not more you need to do in the carcolds type. Okay, that's it. Weapon slot 2, and you need the car variations file. Just again, if you want, copy this, and here with kits you need item, and there you add the mod kit name with the ID which you have. We remember here. Just add it in there. And if you just have cosmetic tuning options, you would be done now. No, actually you wouldn't. But we'll cover this later. But for the weapon mods, we have to do one more thing in handling.meta. So we see weapon number 3 is the EML weapon. Now you have this section. If you don't, you have to edit weapon vehicle mod type, and yeah, we see 1 is empty, 2 is empty, 3 is roof. You have to add the same section you added in car code so the game knows, okay, this weapon is related to roof tuning. Now as you can see, I have 2 entries. I have it right here for vehicle weapon XO2 EML, and I have it in slot 5, which would be vehicle XO2 4 AM rocket. I haven't shown you anything related to this rocket. That's because the aircraft has this weapon by default. But the game knows, because I added the VMT roof section, that when I do tuning to the roof, it adds the EML and disables the 4 AAM rockets. Okay, so yeah, this is that. And yeah, you're basically done with handling then as well. No, we don't want to. And the last thing is you actually need to add the models. Alright, so we go to X64, we go to levels, then you should have the GTA 5 folder with the vehicles RPF. There are your vehicle files. And we go back, then you do a folder which is called in the same name as your parent folder, this one. In this case Wyvern, then you have wyvernmods.rpf and just throw any tuning part in here. Alright? And that's it. Now, of course, but this goes for any file, you need to make sure that the files, car variations, Jesus, this word, car codes, and of course, Wyvern mods, all of these are added in content.xml here at the top and also in the list here at the bottom. Because otherwise the game won't read it and probably the game will crash or it will simply not work. And that's basically all there is to it. I hope it was somewhat understandable. You have to do it a few times. It's actually really easy. You just have to do it a few times and you can easily do it without looking anything up. I always suggest using ready-made files for car calls, car variations, and so on. And yeah, in that case, there isn't really much that can go wrong. So yeah, this is it. This is the basic tutorial. I hope I cleared some things up for you. If not, just ask a question. I will try to help you out. And yeah, I hope to see some new mods with tuning soon.